Another episode of the For the Good podcast.
Yeah. What up, podcast For the Good fam?
Yeah, we have grown.
Yeah.
And we love you guys so much and just appreciate all of your support that we've had.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I wanted to say something, honey, real quick.
Yeah.
When we started this podcast, we were wrestling with like, do we want to monetize it? Do we not want to monetize it? Do you just want to do it for, like, do we not want to basically make money from it?
We always wanted to do it.
Yeah,
it was just like,
exactly.
Do we want to take it a step further and monetize
exactly.
it? And
yeah. So what we were wrestling with was we don't want the money to get in the way of our mission for this podcast.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, we don't want to continue to make episodes if we're doing it specifically for the money.
Right.
So it's something that Michelle and I sat on for a while. So if you guys have seen in the description, we have a Venmo link, and people have asked or emailed us for our PayPal, and y'all are some generous souls.
Very, very generous.
That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Whether it's $1 or over $1,000.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not, like, another disclaimer. Like, I have a full-time 9-to-5 job during the week, and Asher coaches to get income. Like, this is not...
Yeah.
Like, and Asher and I have already talked about many ways, like, we're not keeping every penny that we get. We're giving it to people, or we're finding ways to give back to you guys, which...
It'll be up. Yeah. You can tell them about it.
Yeah. So we're going to give away 5 books of the Awe of God because we've recently read it, and it's just impacted us so much, and we know that it's going to help you guys. So we're going to do a little giveaway on our Instagram. So there's a picture up in the description. It tells you how to enter. So we're just going to ship you guys, 5 of you, a book. But yeah, we're not doing this for a living. We're doing this to grow the kingdom and to help you guys, and to just create a safe space that people can watch our videos and feel filled up.
Yeah, and just relate to.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this right before we filmed, but there's just a huge overconsumption of other people's lives with like vlogs and day in the lives, and you just feel like you're missing out. And so what we want to do is just create content that you can watch, whether you're about to go to bed or when you're eating or whatever you're doing, and just have us on in the background and just listen to us talk. That's what we want to do. So we just love you guys and appreciate you so much, and we've already gotten
we haven't even like said like donate or whatever. Like, we just put in the description, and we've prayed about it, and we're like, I mean, if people want to donate, they can donate, but it's not like our lives depend on it, right?
Exactly.
And the money that we've gotten, also that we've received from our ministry, it's so much different compared to money you receive from like your 9-to-5 or my business. Because my business, like, there are some things that I buy because I want.
Right.
However, when we get donations from the ministry, it's like, all right, where do you want us to disperse this money to, God? Yeah. And it's not that I don't do that in my own business, but it's just a different type of receiving money when someone gives it to you as a gift.
Yeah. Well, and we don't feel like we're working for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like, this isn't work for us. Asher and I love sitting down to film these, and just, especially today's episode, is just going to be us talking. And
to go on that point, I mean, even sponsors, Michelle and I have looked at sponsors that want to sponsor us, and it's like, we don't see anything that would benefit people.
Exactly. We're always going to be very careful with like that, and just like what we've gotten offers to join a event through a ministry. Yeah. We didn't feel comfortable doing it, so we didn't do it. Like, we're using discernment. It's not like we have an opportunity, let's take it. No.
We'll just say this. We've turned down 98% of the offers we get offered.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we could have said yes to all 98% of them.
Yeah.
And we probably would have made money from it, but it's something that Michelle and I have a lot of discernment on.
Yeah.
When it
Yeah.
comes to knowing what we want to, put out there and stuff. But yeah, thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
Y'all are sick.
Yeah. You guys are amazing. So definitely go enter that giveaway so we can gift a book to you guys.
That's right. Yeah. So the giveaway is on Michelle and I's. I know y'all probably follow the Instagram, the For the Good Instagram, but this giveaway is specifically only going to be on Michelle and I's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude. Those are all the announcements.
Yeah.
What have we been up to, honey?
Wedding stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
We're getting really, really close.
Yeah.
When we're filming this, we have 68 days left.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're getting really close. We're about to send out our official invitations, and it's go time.
Yeah. So I put something on my story the other day, and it was just a question thing. People were asking questions. And I had probably 10 people say, how do you know if this person is the right one? And I talked to Michelle a little bit later that day, and I was like, hey, honey, have we done an episode on this yet? And we looked through our episodes and seen if we've talked about it before. We've maybe touched base on it, but we've never actually focused an episode on it. And it's probably the biggest question we get or the second biggest question we get. Mm-hmm. Another big question we get is any intimacy okay before marriage? What's the line?
Yeah.
We've made a video on that.
Yeah.
But
it was in our Q&A.
Yeah. But the second biggest question is definitely, how did you know she was the right one? Mm-hmm. Or how did you know he was the right one?
Or how do you know it's a godly relationship?
Yeah, we wanted to cover how Michelle and I knew we were the right person, essentially. And also, when we were outside, honey, I was kind of thinking about how we're going to frame this podcast. You know what would be really helpful, I think, is if we kind of backtracked into old relationships we've been in and basically understood why God didn't want that to happen.
Yeah.
I think that would help a lot of people.
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, we don't have to say names or go into direct detail.
Right.
But I think it would be really helpful if we gave people context with other relationships we've been in.
Yeah.
Because, again, Michelle and I don't care. I don't care she's had boyfriends. Michelle doesn't care that I've had girlfriends. Mm-hmm. We've messed up. That's the whole point about being born again, is you're a new person. Mm-hmm. So we all have a past, and we both accept each other's past. And on that point, it's very good to learn from each other's past. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things that you've told me about your past that I don't do now because I know that would trigger you.
Yeah.
In the same way, you don't do some things that would trigger me. Mm-hmm. So another thing I want to say before we get into this is y'all don't have to agree with us.
You do not.
So if you hear this and you're like, yeah, I disagree with all this, cool.
Okay.
We're not gonna debate you on it.
Yeah.
You can put your opinion down in the comments below, but if you're expecting us to make a response video to your comment, we're not gonna do that. This is what Michelle and I believe in, and yeah, you don't have to agree. Mm-hmm. There's no problem with disagreeing with us. If you don't agree with us, that's perfectly fine. I disagree with a lot of people and I still love them. Where do you want to take this thing, honey?
I don't know. Where do you want to start? You want to go back?
Where do I want to start?
Take the time machine back?
You know what I think would be a really good time machine back?
Okay. Is
both of our first relationships, because I dated someone for 5.5 years and you dated for someone for 6, right? 5? Okay. Well, actually, I think mine was about 5.
Wait, 2012 to 2017.
Yeah, mine was 5. Mine was 14 years old to 19 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can dissect that relationship and kind of...
How much time do we have? No, I'm just kidding.
Because I think it would be good for people to have context on why it didn't work and why it wasn't the right one. Mm-hmm. And how we probably should have known all along why it wasn't the right one. Yeah. But insecurities come out and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So you want to start, honey?
Yeah.
Okay. Just kind of take it wherever you want to take it. Oh. Well, we should say this. We usually have stuff prepared for you guys. Michelle and I have nothing prepared.
Yeah, no.
Because we were going into this episode, I was like, I believe that the Spirit's just going to tell us what to say to these people. I don't think we need to prepare for this one.
Yeah.
We'll probably pull out some stuff in the Bible, but for most of the part, I really think that people watching this just need our vulnerability of past relationships and our vulnerability for this relationship. I think that's what people need.
Yeah.
Go ahead, honey.
Yeah.
Spit it.
So in my first like serious long relationship, it was very unhealthy from the beginning. And it was one of those things. I was in youth group. I was involved in church. I was not a Christian, but I thought I was. And the relationship started with him matching my beliefs. So it was like, I remember our very first messages. He was having a way with words. Like, I pray for you, and like, I want to go to church with you. I think God is or like putting us together. And it was just like a lot of that talk early on. You know, me being 15 and a half years old, I was like, oh my goodness, I feel so special. Actually, I think I was 15. So I started dating him early on. A lot of talk behind my back about me being just super involved in church. And I was a quote unquote freezer because I wouldn't. Yeah. I told you about that.
I remember you told me that term, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That is so weird that people used to say that.
Yeah.
I've just never heard that term before. I don't think we say that in the South. Yeah. What do we, I think, is the proper term prune? No?
I've never heard that before.
Like someone who like doesn't do anything? I think we say prune in the South.
Yeah, so if you don't know what a freezer is, it basically means that like you won't do anything sexual.
Yeah.
Like
you kissed him, right? That was it?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. I would not let him touch me.
Yeah.
And so I got teased like behind my back and then found out about it. And that relationship should have ended right there. But unfortunately it didn't. And I was just very insecure, and I was like, I'm never going to find anyone better than this.
Exactly.
Kind of thing.
Right.
Being so young, and I didn't have like a huge friend group, and I didn't have a lot of guys interested in me. So I was just like, this is it. This is all I got. So as the relationship progressed, I just felt a lot of pressure to just give him everything. And unfortunately, that's what happened. And after that, I felt stuck. So that's where it got really, really bad.
Right.
And it was like, well, you know what the Bible says. So now we're basically married in God's eyes, and I'm stuck in this relationship.
Yeah.
And I battled a lot because I felt like I should get out, but I kept staying in because like I was just in a position where I was like, well, he's got everything. We've already formulated this relationship together. It's going to take more work for me to get out of it and start over with someone new. Yeah.
Because the problem is you knew what the Bible said, but you didn't have the Holy Spirit to give you the discernment on whether or not you should get out or not.
Exactly. Like if I'm being completely honest with you, I didn't really feel guilty about what I was doing. I just knew that I should have been out of that relationship, but I felt like I couldn't leave.
Right.
Like I felt stuck. So that happened for 4.5 years after that. Or no, 4 years after that.
Oh, that was only year one?
Yeah. Well, no, it happened after a year.
Oh, okay.
So the rest of the 4 years was me like fighting.
Gotcha.
Like we broke up multiple times and got back together.
Yeah.
And it was really unhealthy. I lost myself. I didn't even know who I was anymore. I was super insecure about literally everything. So I held on for way too long. And then after that, I took like 2 years just to like chill. I'm just going to give like a Spark Note version of my relationships. Is that what you want me to do? What do you want me to do?
No, that's fine. Yeah. I'm only going to talk about my first one.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because I learned the most from my first one. The other ones that I had, they weren't like over 2 months.
Oh, yeah. I learned a lot in all of mine.
Yeah.
So obviously I knew from that first relationship that was not someone God wanted me to be with, because number one, he was leading me into sin. He was leading me into a lot of illegal things that I should not have been doing. And he was chasing the world. He was living in the world. And I was having like a flesh spirit. Not that I had the Holy Spirit, but like I could feel God pulling me all of those years. And I was just like blinders on, like only towards him. And it was like, nope, this is where I'm at. I would go to church when we were together. I went by myself.
Yeah.
I was trying to like lean into God because I could feel him pulling me, but I was just fighting it so much. So he was leading me into sin. He was living in the world. He was not nice to me. There was no nice talk whatsoever. It was very selfish love. It was, I'm with you to get for myself and not to give you anything. And that's not what God calls love to be. So lot of red flags in that relationship. I took 2 years after that to just focus on myself, live a little bit. I know people are always like, well, you shouldn't be in a relationship when you're young. Like, you should just go out and live. If I'm being completely honest, I wish I would have met Asher years ago, and we both would have met Jesus before that, and we both would have gotten married young, because I did not enjoy those years of me having fun. Like, yeah. I didn't, like, everyone was like, go out and socialize, go on dates, like, live your life. I joined a sorority. I was like,
you know what happened when I did that? Heartbreak.
Yeah. It's
heartbreak
like,
and a lot of hangovers.
I don't disagree with focusing time for yourself, but like devote yourself to the Lord in that time.
Yeah.
And like, don't chase what the world's telling you to chase.
Yeah.
Right. So I took some time, and then I met the guy that I dated in college, and he was a Catholic, and he was kind of in the same boat I was, where it was like, I identify with this religion because my family does, and I go with them, but I don't really like, there's no fruit in my life whatsoever. Okay. So obviously before I gave my life to Jesus, I was just like, you go to church and you come from a really good family. Great. Let's be together. And that relationship started the same way. And if you're a girl listening to this, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because I know I'm not the only one that has experienced it. It was, oh my goodness, I see a future with you. This is crazy. Like, talking all futuristic stuff and a lot of like empty promises just to be in a relationship with me. Like, this man asked me out and told me that he loved me on the same night.
Here we go.
It was like head first. After a couple weeks went on and we got intimate, no longer cared.
Yeah.
No more effort. It was one-sided, and that's when it got really unhealthy. So he was openly talking to other people, not like in a relationship way, but like Asher and I have talked about this. I don't think it's a good idea for a male to have girls as friends and for a girl to have males as friends. We've talked about this. That's not something we're going to have in our relationship. We'll have couple friends. Like, we have couples that we just went bowling with last night.
They were awesome.
They're amazing.
However, I would never hang out with Jillian and Maddie alone.
Exactly.
That's weird.
Exactly. So that was something that like I was not okay with, and it got thrown in my face. And that was just a red flag for me that I just didn't appreciate, because it was like, you don't value our relationship. I'm just there. Mm-hmm. I'm just existing. It got to the point where there were things said like that we didn't agree on that was biblical. Abortion was one of them. He was all for it because he wasn't ready for anything. And that is not something I would ever do.
Yeah.
So when we started bumping heads on all of that important stuff after we had already been intimate, it was really, really difficult for me to just be like backing away and being like, okay, I'm just going to leave you alone. Yeah. Right. There was a lot of other things involved where I was like, okay, I'm not okay with this. Like, something needs to happen. But like, it was so much harder to get out of it when I had already been intimate with him.
Yeah. Dude. And that's why God calls us to be intimate only in marriage, because this is the problem that people have. Mm-hmm. They're intimate with their girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, before they get married. Mm-hmm. Then they have blinders on all of the red flags that come up, and it takes them months or even years to get out of their relationship.
You're dating with drunk goggles on.
Exactly. However, if you were to wait until you're married, then the blinders that you put on when you're intimate in marriage is a good thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Because every time they do mess up, you're like, I love this person.
Yeah, so there was definitely a pattern in my relationships, because it was like I feel like I'm stuck with this person, but there's a lot of things that I don't agree with and that we don't agree on, that I feel like I have to stay because I've been intimate with them.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a pattern, and I feel like a lot of times that happens in relationships, and that's why people are always like, how do you know if it's from God? Because I don't feel secure in this relationship. And it's like, sit down and analyze the relationship, right?
Yeah.
Like, go through a checklist, which we can get into later.
Yeah.
But after that relationship, I got out of that, and I immediately got into a new one. And he was actually the one that like brought me back into church, and he had gone through a lot in his life where he like literally almost died, and he had faith in God because he knew that God was the one that saved him. But that relationship was very, very eye-opening, and I don't think that I would be where I'm at right now unless it happened. So I do think that God will use those bad relationships to get you where he wants you. 1000%. I will always advocate for that. And if I ever have someone talking about like their past and they're like, I wish this wouldn't happen and all this stuff, and it's like, but if you see the way that God used that situation, I don't think that you would have that mentality.
Yeah.
So with that one, it was like, okay, I'm a Christian, I'm going to church, but I'm in college and I'm going to go out drinking with all my friends, and I'm going to still lead you into sin because I want to be with you. So that one got really unhealthy too, because I was like, wait, I'm going to church. God is literally drawing me near, and I'm now to the point, like, if you were to look at it like overhead, like God's over here, and like in this relationship. In high school, I was like back here. Okay, I was like trying to pursue it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he was like dragging me back.
Yeah.
The one in college was like a little bit above that, and I was like trying to find God. Like I was going to Catholic church at that point and like just getting curious.
Yeah.
Again. And then he was pulling me away from him,
Yeah.
right?
Wait, you went to mass?
Yeah, I did a couple times.
No way.
Yeah, I told you that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Heck yeah, dude.
Different experience.
Yeah.
Not for me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Just,
That's okay.
But
It's not for me either.
and then and then the one after that, it was like, I'm like so close.
Yeah.
Like I am so close to like fully giving my life to Jesus. And it's crazy because I remember having conversations with him and his family, and I was like, I've said the sinner's prayer so many times, like, you know, I can't pinpoint a day that I gave my life to Jesus. And like God's up there like, yeah, because you haven't yet.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, was
just,
his family saying the same thing too?
No, that's just what I was saying.
Oh.
Because like I was like, yeah, I grew up in church, and like I'm going with you guys, and like, you know, I was just like openly talking about it all the time. And I like vividly remember having conversations where I was like, yeah, I remember I left a church service and I was like, I don't remember, because the pastor was like, I remember the day that I gave my life to Jesus. And I was like, I don't remember the day I gave my life to Jesus. Like, I don't remember that shift. And God's up there like, yeah, because you didn't.
Yeah.
So I was so close. So what was happening was I was getting closer to God, and things were getting refined in me. Mm-hmm. The closer I got to him.
Yeah. And
like fully giving my life to him. And I was starting to get confused with why the relationship was the way that it was.
Wow.
Because, and I've told you all this, but it was like, it was almost like I was correcting him on things that were in the Bible, and he was snapping back at me about them. And I was like, wait a second. Like, it's biblical.
Yeah.
Like, you're a Christian, and you're saying you're a Christian. You're telling me that you believe in all of these things, but when I try to correct you about something, i.e. getting drunk, you're getting mad at me. Mm-hmm. And it was like, wait a second, like what is going on here? Mm-hmm. So right before I gave my life to Jesus, I was like, this relationship's not healthy. He's leading me into sin. He's not respecting what I have to say. Every time I would say like, hey, I'm upset about this, or I'm not okay with this, it was, well, I'm a piece of crap. and you just make me feel so bad. And it was like gaslighting, like flipping it on me. And I was like, I'm telling you things that I'm upset with you doing that are against the Bible.
Yeah.
Like, this shouldn't be an argument.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't have to correct you.
Yeah.
So it was just a lot of back and forth. And then I was like, this doesn't feel right. That's when I prayed to God, and I was like, have him break up with me, because I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
He did. Gave my life to Jesus that night, and I was like, sayonara.
Yeah.
And that's when I actually felt a change. Yeah. And that's when my eyes opened so much to dating.
Yeah.
So I just want to like preface that whole thing that I was going on about all my relationships. Like, I was not a fully devoted follower of Christ when I was dating all of those people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Context is very important.
It is.
Yeah.
Because I was blinded by what they were doing because we were intimate, number one. Number two, I was learning about the Bible, and obviously you know things that you're supposed to be doing and you're not supposed to be doing. We're all made in the image of God. Yeah. We all know what's right and wrong. It's just whether or not you're going to follow flesh or spirit.
Yeah.
And I was like going along with whatever they were saying basically until the last relationship. And then I was like, no, this doesn't sound right. Mm-hmm. This doesn't feel right. This isn't okay. This isn't what God wanted. Mm-hmm. So it was the leading me into sin and the not respecting me and the loving me selfishly to get something in return or to make them feel better about themselves or whatever it was. I don't know what their motives were. Mm-hmm. I may never know, and I don't care to know. So if you're in a relationship where you're like, I don't think that this is how it's supposed to be, and you're not yet a follower of Christ, but he's trying to draw you near, the only advice I would say is you're not going to fully give your life to him until you have no distractions. Mm-hmm. And a relationship, and an unhealthy relationship, will be one of them.
Yeah. It's so funny. Two things. So the whole point of like, if you think this isn't how it's supposed to be, it's not how it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
If you're thinking that,
if you're questioning,
if you're like, is this how relationships are supposed to be? Like in a bad way? Like Michelle and I, it's like, wait, this is how healthy relationships are supposed to be?
Yeah.
It's a different type of, is this how it's supposed to be?
Yeah.
But if you're in a like unhealthy relationship and you're like, wait, is this how relationships are supposed to be? Mm-hmm. No, they're not.
No.
And majority of the time, you think that's how they're supposed to be because you're surrounded by people that are also in unhealthy relationships. Mm-hmm. It may be your parents.
Yeah.
My parents didn't have a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
Thank God nothing got really ugly. And, you know, they spit back on us as kids, or they got aggressive. Like, there was no yelling or shouting, but they didn't have a healthy marriage. I think I can probably count on both my hands how many times I saw my parents kiss. And I probably never saw them hold hands. Mm-hmm. And, you know, a lot of times that you think your relationship is how it's supposed to be because you're around other unhealthy relationships. Mm-hmm. You're like, well, this is just how it all is. Like, no, it's not. Trust me, it's not. But also you said something, honey, where you said, and also we shouldn't be correcting them. Mm-hmm. Like,
we shouldn't have to, yeah.
I think that is so important because another huge question we get in our ministry is, I know he's the right one, but I have to be correcting him. Sorry, sweetheart.
Or I have to make him do... I have to make him do things that are biblical. Right.
It's, I know he's the right one, but I force him to come to church with me. You know, I can't please him in bed. Honey, I think you got it all wrong.
Yeah.
And that may be really hard.
Yeah.
You know, someone telling that to you. But I'm telling you this because God has someone planned for you where you don't have to correct.
Yes.
You have to just sit back and just love them for who they are.
Yes.
And they're going to lead you in the right direction.
I will say this. There's been times where I have done something. We talked about this like a week ago when we were shopping, on the way back from shopping. And Asher was like, do you think that there's anything that like either of us need to change? And it sparked into a conversation of talking about how I usually get worked up when something doesn't go my way. Like,
oh yeah, sure.
And I forget what happened that day, but it was like, I dropped rice.
Yeah,
on the ground.
You dropped rice and you threw a fit.
I was upset because I dropped rice.
Yeah,
and it like shifted my mood.
Yeah.
And then later on, Asher was like, I think that's something that like we could work on.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, absolutely. Like, you're right. Right. So there's times where like, it's going to be like out of a healthy way.
Yeah.
Like, hey, maybe we shouldn't do this.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's uncomfortable, it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't want to hear that.
Yeah.
But in my mind, the Spirit was like, he's 1000% right. That's something that we need to work on.
Yeah.
And then we had a really good conversation about like, okay, yeah, that's something that we can't do in front of our kids. Like we have to do that, like fix it before we have children. Cause I don't want our son or our daughter to see me drop rice and, blow up.
Yeah. And there's stuff that Michelle wants me to fix before we have kids.
Yeah.
Like leaving my shoes at the door. Or, what was the other one you told me? I already forgot, but I've been practicing it. What is? Oh, putting the seat down. No, it wasn't that. What was it, honey? Keeping the shoes at the door, and there was one other thing.
I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember now.
I don't remember either.
We're both imperfect.
Anywho, it doesn't matter.
It's
She'll
not
tell me
like-
some things I need to work on. I need to tell her some things she needs to work on in a very healthy and loving way. And we do this because we're really not only trying to keep the relationship healthy because we know that it would damage it in the future if it continues to happen, but also we want to have children, and your children follow what the parents do.
Exactly.
If I take off my shoes at the door every single time I come in the house, chances are Junior, when he gets home from his friend's house playing on the farm, he's going to take his shoes off at the door as well.
Yeah.
Because I know he's going to be muddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in the same way, if I'm in the bathroom and I use the toilet and I put the seat down after I flush so it doesn't splash everywhere, chances are when he goes in the toilet or when he goes to the toilet, he sees that and he's like, I'm going to do the same. So he doesn't have the seat lifted up twice for Macy to fall through it and get baptized, you know?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, and for anyone listening who's like, who are these people you're talking about? We already have our children's names picked out.
We have a lot. We have a long list.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's just some examples of what Michelle and I do to help us navigate our relationship.
It's I don't have to force Asher to pray with me every night. I don't have to force him to lead this relationship. We talked about a podcast that we both heard the other day, and she was like, I want to be able to close my eyes and have this man lead me. And know where we're going and know that I'm going to be safe. And that's exactly how I feel about Asher. And I've never felt that way about another man.
I would love to touch on that topic, honey, about submission. Nowhere in the Bible does it encourage you to be with someone that is going to lead you into sin.
Exactly. Yeah.
I know people are going to throw out 1 Corinthians, I think it's 9, and they're like, well, in this, it says it's okay to date a non-believer. Of course, it's okay to do a lot of things, but I guarantee you Paul doesn't encourage it. Actually, I know he doesn't encourage it because he talks about being equally yoked, and it just doesn't make sense. Why would? Let me say it like this. If Jesus is the truth and the only truth, why would God call you to be with a Muslim if you're a Christian?
Yeah.
If he knows that they're following demons, evil spirits.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
I don't know why people try and justify it.
And well, it's the justification is
I want to
convert them.
Yeah, exactly.
Where in the Bible does it say to convert people? Where does it say to we're supposed to share the gospel?
Yeah.
It is up to that person whether or not they want to give their life to Jesus.
And also, I want to say one more thing, and this is definitely going to step on some toes. I also think that the justification comes with insecurity. So, no, I can be with this person, but the reason why I can be with this person is because I don't think I can do better. Guilty. I did that. I did that.
Yeah.
And on that point, I don't believe that Jesus is ever going to encourage you to stay in a relationship where they are not following him.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't believe that.
Yeah.
You can argue with me, debate me, whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't believe in that.
Yeah, I don't either.
So I'm gonna go into just my biggest relationship I had, because I've had a lot of like relationships that are like a month to 2 months long, but I'm just gonna cover my one that's like 5 years long, and then we're gonna dive into the juicy stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so my Actually, this was my second relationship, now thinking about it.
Mine technically was too, but I
Yeah.
only count my first one.
Yeah. My first one was for like 2 months. And I think in that 2 months, it was when I was 13.
Mm-hmm.
In that 2 months, I think I saw her twice. And
we go.
she lived right down the street. I'm not kidding.
Well, you were just so young.
Yeah. Like I would, honey, I remember texting her.
Yeah.
And it was like I had to go do homework or something like that. And I was like, all right, I got to go. Like I wouldn't just like leave my phone there and just not text her. I was like, okay, I got to go.
Yeah.
I'll text you later. And then I
Yeah.
would text her in like 4 hours or
Yeah.
something. So funny.
The way that we used to text is hilarious.
Yeah.
BRB.
Yeah. BRB. And the be right back was like 6 hours later. Yeah. I asked her out on a little track phone too
Here we go.
with my minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's all I had.
Wow.
I had that and an iPod. Anywho, so that relationship doesn't count. So the first relationship I had, we met at a Methodist church as well. We dated for about 5 years. And this relationship, again, like Michelle's, should have ended very quickly.
Yeah.
So I started dating her at 14. And then also we both lost our virginity at 14.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like right off the rip.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were already like
One.
literally one.
Yeah.
Like at 14 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to sit here and like bash her and say, oh, it's her fault, it's her fault. I was a complete screw up.
Mm-hmm.
Like I messed up so bad.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even begin to tell you guys how like just selfish I was in that relationship and just wanting certain things and like not, just being a man that God's called me to be. But anywho, so we lost our virginity at 14. It was very weird.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't do anything intimate for like another like 6 to 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
And what was terrible is that's what the relationship was built on right off the rip. Like it was very like, oh, this is so new and fun for like the first like 3 to 4 months. And then we got intimate and then it was like, oh, this is really weird, but we're stuck. So fast forward a year, I was about 16 years old and she was going behind my back and going to parties with this one guy, taking pictures with him, stuff like that. And it was so funny. I remember my mom, she was like, hey, do you have a Facebook? And I was like, no. And she was like, I think you should see what's being posted on Facebook. And she showed me a picture of my girlfriend and the guy she's been hanging out with. She posted photos
Wow.
on Facebook.
Knowing that you didn't have one.
Yeah, knowing that I didn't have one. And on that point, she lied to me about going to these things.
Wow.
She called them youth groups.
Oh.
But it was actually like parties with high schoolers and stuff.
Wow.
Well, I was in high school too. So yeah, she started like dating him behind my back. And I remember confronting her and I was like, hey, are you doing something that you shouldn't, but you're not telling me? And she was like, no, what do you mean? And I was like, who is this? I'm not going to name names, but I'm like, who is this guy? And she was like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, literally, there's a picture on Facebook with you guys. You guys must know each other. And she was like, oh, he was just a friend. Like, we just hung out. And I was like, I don't know if a friend takes a picture like that. Because it was like, honey, it was like the picture we just took with the All of God. So y'all will see it on Instagram. But it was a picture of Michelle and I smiling at a camera, holding up books. We look like we're married.
Your arm was around
Yeah,
me.
literally
Yeah.
it looks like we're married.
Yeah.
That's how they were taking pictures.
Wow.
And one more thing, there was a picture that she was on top of his lap.
Wow.
Like she was sitting on like a
Yeah.
concrete wall
Yeah.
and she was on his lap. And I was like, I don't think friends take pictures like this.
Or post them.
Yeah. And on that point, post them. And that's when I was like, I should leave. But guess what? I didn't leave because we were still rooted in that intimate relationship or that intimacy that we never should have done in the first place. So a couple days go by. She breaks up with me. Of course. I would hope so, right? She's literally cheating on me openly, and I'm not doing anything about it. So we break up, and a couple months goes by. She hits me back up, and she's like, hey, can we talk? We didn't end things the right way, okay? And I was like, yeah, we definitely didn't. Let's talk. Because, again, the whole intimacy thing, I was like, we're still friends. We've been intimate with each other. Maybe we can make this work. And so she comes over, and we started talking. And she was like, yeah, like, I just don't like how things were left. And, like, I'm not happy with him either. I was a lot happier with you. She cheats on him with me.
Here we go.
And so then she's in this predicament again where she has two boyfriends. So she breaks up with him. We start dating again. Okay. And again, what was it rooted on when we started dating again? Intimacy. We didn't have sex or anything. It wasn't that. It was like kiss. If you did that to someone, it'd be cheating.
Oh, 1,000. Yeah. Honey, emotional cheating is cheating.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't you don't have to have sex with someone to cheat on them.
You do not.
It can be as little as, oh, I miss you. Oh, I miss you so much with the heart.
Exactly.
You'd be cheating.
Yeah.
People may think that's no. That's cheating.
That's cheating. Sorry.
Yeah, that's cheating 100%. If you give attention to any other girl or guy, in a way where it's kind of affectionate, even a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, you've crossed the line.
Yeah.
You just have to have enough respect for your partner to not do that. So that's the thing. She didn't have respect for me. She didn't have respect for him.
Yeah.
She just wanted attention.
Yeah.
She was an only child. I get it. And me, I was an insecure 16-year-old. I was skinny as crap. I thought that was the only girl that was ever going to be with me ever. And I was like, we already did this thing, so I may as well stay here. It's comfortable, whatever. So, again, the relationship was rooted in intimacy because that's what happened when we started dating again. So, like, 2.5 years go on. Terrible fights, just really ridiculous stuff. Like, I don't even want to get into all of it, but just, like, little things where it's like I look back on it now and I'm like, I cannot believe that we would get in arguments like that because Michelle and I have been together for almost 7 months. And, 7 months, February 2nd.
You're right.
Yeah. And Michelle and I have yet to get in an argument where one of us is trying to be right. It's like we may say something where we disagree on, and it's like, okay, here's the problem. Let's fix it.
Yeah.
And even on that point, I can probably count on one hand where we've like disagreed with each other or like argued with each other about anything because we know it's not worth it.
And it's something totally stupid.
Yeah, it's something. Yeah.
That's not even important.
Yeah, it's like, is the milk expired? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes. I saw it there last week. No, I don't think so. It's like, just go check if the milk is expired.
Yeah.
Like you don't you don't need to think about it too hard.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, so we continued to date up until about senior year of high school, and she did the same thing again. She actually was at youth group because she wanted me to start coming to church. She was like, we got to do this right. We got to go to church. And I was like, I may come occasionally. And the problem was, though, is the youth group she was going to, I knew all those people in there, and I partied with all of them. I literally used to smoke dope with these people in this youth group.
Yeah.
And I used to take shots with them.
Here we go.
And it's like, I thought y'all aren't supposed to be doing that. So I didn't get it. And then also it was like, we were intimate. So it's like, I know that's not in the Bible, but like, I don't really follow the Bible. So I don't really feel guilty about it. But she was kind of feeling guilty about it. Because she was like, I think we should wait. And then it was always like, I think we should wait. And then it always ended up being like, no, we're not going to because we already did. Right? It was like the whole like, you've already done it. Why not? Type thing.
Yeah.
So like 2 years passed. She started going to youth group with this one guy. And then again, I still don't have Facebook because Facebook's not my thing. Do you still use Facebook?
Well, no.
Okay.
No, but I did say that we're in a relationship on there or we're engaged. and you
Oh, yeah.
accepted it. You do have one.
That's right.
Yours automatically posts to it.
Yeah.
But I think it's like a business page or
It
something.
is. Yeah. Anywho, so she starts posting with this guy on Facebook. And also she started Snapchatting that guy, and she wouldn't Snapchat me back. But she would have a streak with this guy, and she would end our streak. And again, this is like little me insecure. I'm like,
Yeah.
"You're ending my streak, blah, blah, blah. You know, I don't
The
even...
petty little things
Yeah.
that people used to do.
Exactly, yeah. So I was like confused, and I remember... This is so funny. I remember bringing it up again. Like, I was like, yo, who is this guy? And she was like, it's just a friend. And I was like, I don't think friends do this.
Yeah, no.
And it was funny because the way she was taking pictures with him, I was like, you don't even take pictures with me like this anymore. Now you're taking pictures with him. Like, what's going on here? And a couple days go by again. We break up. Same thing happens. They start dating. Okay. And I feel so bad for her. In a way, I kind of felt bad for her. Her senior year got ruined by the school. Like, ruined. Because I could have taken it a little bit differently. I was probably not that nice about it. So they date for a little bit. She comes back, texts me, don't think I like how things ended. We're about to go to college. I really think we can work out, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you've already screwed up your chances so many times. And I was really not nice about it. Like, I'm saying it nice on camera, but I didn't curse her out or anything. But I was like, no, like, you're a screw up. Like, literally, you cheated on me twice. And, like, what was bad is that everyone found out about it. So she was in my 7th period, senior year too. And she would just, like, cry. Because everyone was like, she's a hoe. Because she cheated. And I don't want to say like I was like Mr. Popular or whatever, but like I was very well known, and it's like everyone was taking my side instead of hers, and it's like they just didn't know that I was a screw up too.
Yeah.
You know? So I didn't go back, but anyways, that relationship should have ended when I was 14 years old. After she started, or 15 years old when she started talking to that guy.
Yeah.
But it didn't because it was so rooted in the intimacy to begin with.
Yeah.
If I didn't have those blinders on, none of the other 3.5, 4 years wouldn't have happened. And again, I'm not regretting any of that decision because now I get to teach you guys about it. Maybe you're in the same situation.
Yeah.
However, I do look back at it and I'm like, imagine how much I would have grown if I would have pushed that to the curb and then focus on the path of righteousness instead. It would have been a completely different facade.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so fast forward with all of my other relationships. That's what all of my other relationships were built on. We would date for a month, intimacy, and then stuck for another month. Then she would break up with me. And then I've never broken up with someone before. People have always broken up with me. And the reason why is because I knew the relationship wasn't good. I was just too insecure to tell them it's not good. Because I was afraid I wasn't going to be with anyone else.
Yeah.
So giving y'all all of that context because
From both of us.
Because I know that's going to help some of you guys because a lot of
Yeah.
people don't want to talk about their past relationships.
Yeah.
But when you're secure in your relationship that you're in, and also you know you're going to spend the rest of your life with them, there's no problem talking about your past. It's only going to help people.
Exactly.
People learn from the past. They can't learn from the future.
Yeah.
You know?
And the way that we dated after we gave our life to Jesus was really impacted from our past because we were
exactly
like,
right.
What did I do wrong? Right? Like if you go in to take a test at school and you come out and you fail it, all right, and you have to pass this test, you're going to try to figure out, okay, why, like, what answers did I get wrong?
Yeah.
Like, you'll go back and analyze, like, what needs to change, right? So, like, what we did after we gave our life to Jesus was, like, I'm going to be completely honest with y'all right now. If you have not given your life to Jesus yet, get ready, because after you do it, this girl gave this really good analogy. She was basically like, he literally dug up everything I had buried. She was like, when I first gave my life to Jesus, I was emotionally a wreck.
Wow.
And the reason is because a lot of times I feel like we try to cover things up and ignore things and not focus on them. And then once you give your life to Jesus, he's like, we got to deal with this stuff, because it's going to change your future if you do, because you're going to let go of it and everything's just going to be totally different moving forward. So us moving forward and dating, it was really impacted from our past.
It was,
because we looked back and thought, okay, where did it go wrong? We both realized that the reason why we stayed in those relationships way longer than we should have was because we were intimate with those people, and we were too scared to leave and too insecure to leave. So if you're in a situation right now where you're like, I don't feel like this is a relationship for me, but I feel stuck, and you've been intimate with them, we know what that feels like. And coming out of that and being on this side of it, not ever having sex, and we're still sitting here so incredibly in love with each other and attracted to each other, like, it's possible to pursue a relationship without having sex.
Yeah.
Okay. It
Very
is
possible.
And it
is
going into that relationship with a clear mind without involving that is so much more peaceful.
Yeah. There's no pressure.
Yeah.
This is what I meant by, like, I think the Holy Spirit's going to take this one.
Okay.
So this is how I felt when we started dating in our relationship.
Yeah.
Okay. This is how past relationships were. I'm not going to leave her because I don't think I can get anyone else. That's how past relationships were. This relationship is, I don't want to leave her because I couldn't see my life without her. Two complete means the same thing, kinda, but two different scenarios.
You know what's crazy?
What?
Is how you can feel that way and we've never had sex.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
Isn't that crazy?
Because
here we go. Here we go.
The reason why people have sex before they get married is because they're too insecure that they're not going to get anyone else in the future, and they know that's going to tie themselves together.
Bingo.
Dang.
Bingo. I'm going to speak to the girls for a second. If you feel the need to give yourself to a man in order for him to show his love to you, you should not be with him.
Yeah.
There was not a thought in my head when we started talking that I had to give myself to you in order for you to love me.
Yeah. In the same way for me too.
Yeah.
Because I thought I would have to be intimate to keep a girl. In the same way a lot of times girls think they have to be intimate to keep a guy. It works both ways.
Yeah.
I didn't have to do that with you.
Yeah.
It changed from me wanting to give my physical self to you. It changed from me wanting to give acts to you. Showing my love through actions. Without being intimate.
Exactly. And building that foundation before we're married is going to carry on into us being married. Like, we're still going to serve each other and also love each other when we're married.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 1000%.
Yeah, it's crazy because when I gave my life to Jesus, I dated one girl before I dated you. And it was just crazy because every relationship before that one was, if she says yes to being my girlfriend, she has to be the one. But with the girl I dated before you, it was, I could actually see my life without dating her. I actually don't want to date her. And that's not how it used to ever be. And then you come along, we have a conversation, and then I was like, wait a second. I actually don't see my life without this woman. Is this how it's supposed to be? And that's when we go back to the beginning of the episode where we're like, is this how it's supposed to be? Yes. That's what we talk about in a healthy way. Is this how it's supposed to be?
Yeah.
I gave my life to Jesus March 18th of 2023. I gave my life to Jesus like 2 weeks after I got broken up with. And the girl that broke up with me, I was seriously like, I liked her a lot. Told my parents about her, told my uncle about her. I tell my uncle about, my uncle's sick. Can't wait for you to meet him.
Yeah.
He's so fun. When I told him that we broke up, he was like, oh man, I'm so sorry to hear that. A couple weeks go by, I told him, hey, Uncle Swen, dude, I gave my life to Jesus. He was like, oh wow. And then he was like, okay. And I've told you this multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, God's going to send you a woman and you're going to ask yourself, is this girl even real?
Mm-hmm.
And then a couple weeks go by, meet this girl.
Mm-hmm.
That's not you.
Mm-hmm.
We go on a couple dates.
Mm-hmm.
Is this girl even real?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she is. And I was like, yeah, I don't see myself being with her. You come along. And then I asked the question, is this girl even real? The answer was, I don't even know. And then I remember calling my Uncle Swen. That's his name, Uncle Swen.
Mm-hmm.
I remember calling Uncle Swen and I was like, so the whole question, like, is this girl even real? Do you know if your wife's real? And he was like, dude, I don't know. I still don't know. We've been married for 20 something years. Yeah. I still don't know.
Yeah. I remember one of our conversations, you were like, are you real?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
Am I being pranked? We both said that very early on after one of our first conversations.
Yeah.
It was like, this is a joke.
Yeah.
Like, I'm waiting for the cameras.
Yeah. Yeah, we still sometimes say that too.
Yeah.
But I just remember having that conversation with my uncle. And I was like, is that kind of how you know? And he was like, yeah, that's how you know. And then he would always tell me, don't listen to anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just focus on God and your relationship. That's all you need.
Mm-hmm.
Because even with him and his wife, there was a lot of noise with them too. He met her at a post office and they got married really quick.
Mm-hmm.
And he would tell me, he was like, dude, I just, from the get-go, because she was actually wearing a red dress
Mm-hmm.
in the post office. And so, like the whole
like
like
she
women
was a
in
customer?
Yeah. Because he works at the post office.
Yeah.
And you know how the people say, like, oh, don't get the women in the red dress syndrome.
Oh.
And he was like, oh, no, I had that. I had that for sure.
Yeah.
And that's how I was with you. I kept, even to this day, I still ask myself, dang, is this chick real? And yeah, I mean, your partner is supposed to continually amaze you throughout
Mm-hmm.
your relationship. And on that point, this may contradict each other, and your partner's going to disappoint you a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay.
Mm-hmm. They're not perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I want to talk about like.
So now we can get into it. An hour in, now we're getting to the topic.
Yeah. We just wanted to give some context because I think that's really helpful. And I pray that us being vulnerable and talking about our past before we gave our life to Jesus, like, really opens your eyes to a situation that you might be in or one that you might be in the future, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I really want to talk about like how we knew that this was something that would honor God. And, I don't want to say how we knew that we were the one, because Asher and I have had a lot of conversations about like, we don't believe in soulmates. We don't believe that God like has like one specific person like picked out for us, like,
Mm-hmm.
as we're going through life. We believe that he brought us together 1000%.
Yeah.
But I think it was just like a snowball of actions
Mm-hmm.
that kind of led to us eventually
Yeah.
being together.
God will send you a person, and it's not about it being the right person. It's about, are you willing to make it work with that person?
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. And what's crazy, honey, is in the Instagram story that I put, all the 11 questions was, how do you know if they are the right one?
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to reply to all 11 saying, there is no right one.
Yeah.
Why are you putting that much
Exactly.
pressure on yourself?
Yeah, because then that's when you're contradicting yourself.
Yeah.
Or you're like overthinking and overanalyzing things because you're like, well, I don't know, because like there's this like one thing. Like Asher uses my bathroom and leaves some pee on the ground. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and go, I don't know if he's the one because he accidentally drips his pee on the ground. Sorry, I just outed you.
What the heck?
But I'm serious, like, because that's how I used to date. It was like, I would start dating somebody and then like something so not important would happen and I would be like, I don't know, like this one thing happened.
Yeah.
And then I would start to question things. Obviously there was a lot of other things that were like big and a huge problem. But like if you put so much pressure to find like the right one, you're going to like overanalyze them and their relationship. And it's just going to be way, way harder to date.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you guys a question. If you're waiting for the right one, you first need to ask yourself if you're the right one. Because the right one comes down to someone being perfect, and we serve the right one. We are not the right one.
Amen.
Okay, so we actually just talked about this story in church when what's his name had to work for Sarah.
Jacob.
Yeah, Jacob. And everyone knows this story in Genesis. So this is Genesis 29, starting at verse 19. It says, "Agreed," Laban replied, "I'd rather give her to you than to anyone else. Stay and work with me." So Jacob worked 7 years to pay for Rachel, but his love for her was so strong that it seemed to him but a few days. Do you think that Jacob thought Sarah was the right one, him having to work 7 years for her?
Yeah, if someone would have said,
Are
you
you-
can't have Asher for 7 years, I'd be like, okay, then that's he's just not
that's
it.
coming from Satan. You know,
Yeah.
like seriously, think about it.
Yeah.
Like Jacob used so much discernment from God that was his wife, that he was actually going to stay and work for 7 years. Was she the right one?
I don't know, because he also married Leah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know, but it's just a good example.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Either of them could have been the right one.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Was he trying to marry Leah?
No.
No, he wasn't.
Did he
If
get
y'all
stuck
haven't
with her?
if y'all haven't read Genesis, it's a really messed up story.
Let's just say they needed Jesus.
Yeah, very messed up story. But
God used it all, though.
yeah. Anywho, back to my point. What I was saying is Jacob didn't think Sarah was the right one. What he did was he noticed the Lord put a girl in his life, and I don't know Jacob's thoughts. He probably had a checklist, and he was
Well,
like,
I think he was just...
yeah.
She probably had like a beam of light.
Exactly.
And he was just like, oh my goodness, you're perfect.
Exactly. Yeah. And his thought process was the same as every guy's, more than likely saying, I couldn't see myself living without this woman, period. And then that's what he did for 7 years to get her. What you got, honey?
That was really good. So now we're going to talk about how we knew that we were right for each other and that God literally placed us in each other's lives. It's kind of situational because of where God was calling us to go. So I think the best way to do this is to literally just list things. So to start, we are both leading each other closer to God.
Yeah.
Our very first conversation was, here's all my baggage.
Yeah.
Here's my testimony. And this is how the Lord has literally changed my life.
Yeah.
We talked about how what actions we were doing to grow in our relationship with God, and things that he was teaching us and the way that we spent time with him. And it was very similar. We were both watching a lot of podcasts, YouTube videos, reading the word, studying the word, getting into like why we believe what we believe so that we can talk to people about it. There was no thought in my mind that was questioning whether or not Asher was following the Bible.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good point, honey.
Yeah.
And in the same way, as a man, you want a feminine woman, and if a woman is submitting her life to Jesus, then she is also going to submit to the right man.
Completely.
Which is me.
Yes.
Thankfully. And it also, I just want to say this. submission is not a bad thing at all.
Not at all.
I submit to Michelle.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah.
And she submits to me.
Yeah.
It's not a like a only she does it to me. It's no, I also submit to her. Mm-hmm. And I love it. Mm-hmm. She submits to me and she loves it. Mm-hmm. 'Cause the thing is with you giving your life to Jesus and you start reading the Bible, God's going to call you to be the woman that you're supposed to be for your partner. Mm-hmm. So he's going to make that woman more feminine. He's going to make the man more masculine. Mm-hmm. And then that is when your roles kind of can join. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So one thing that stuck out with me when we first started talking was, again, your feminine roles. Mm-hmm. Because I was, before I found Christ, the dating was, yeah, I don't know when I'm going to have kids. I don't know if I want them. I like to party. I like to do this. Blah, 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 blah.
That's what they were saying.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, same.
Yeah.
Then I gave my life to Jesus, and it's like, now I'm just going to interview a bunch of women.
Yeah.
Because that's what Christian dating is.
That's exactly what it is.
Sorry, people.
Yeah.
If you think you're going to go on some fancy 5-star hotel dates with roses and stuff, nah, bro. Just get on the phone with them and just say, hey, listen, give it to me.
Well, if they're there, you could take them on a date.
Of course.
But, like, it's literally an interview.
Yeah, yeah. Just don't be weirded out if it is, because it is. Like this, we're talking about literally eternity here.
Yeah.
We're talking about truth.
Yeah.
You can't have someone who is half truthful, someone who is all truthful. Mm-hmm. The one who is all truthful is going to win all the time. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, one thing that stood out to me was your feminine roles of being like, I used to be this. Mm-hmm. I got redeemed by Jesus. Mm-hmm. Like you went from, I used to not want kids. Mm-hmm. I was on birth control to birth control sucks. Big Pharma sucks. Mm-hmm. It's run by Satan. Mm-hmm. And I want to have a lot of children and raise them on a farm. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, I'm sold. Let's keep talking.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was about the values lining up. And I don't care who you listen to. If you do not talk about your values within the first couple of dates,
you're wasting your time.
You are wasting your time, because this is what happens is as time goes on, you get to grow a little bit more attached. You get to be a little more comfortable and secure with each other. And then, you know what happens, honey? Some values may not line up, and you're
okay.
blinded by it.
Yeah.
Because you're like, yeah. Oh, you only want to have one kid, but I want to have 6? We're just going to compromise and only have one. Okay. Don't know how that's going to work out in the future.
I want to raise my kids.
I've heard it play out not well at all, actually, if we learn from history.
Yeah, yeah. I want to take my kids to church with me and teach them about the Lord, and it's their decision to follow the Lord. Someone else could be like, nope, they don't have a choice. They're following the Lord. I'm baptizing them as an infant, and they're going to be forced into religion and not a relationship with Jesus.
Yeah. And this is something that also Michelle and I talked so early on.
The first conversation,
Michelle and I were like, yeah, our kids aren't Christian.
Yeah.
And people are going to be like, wait, what do you mean?
Yeah.
No, they're not Christian.
No. Not until they're old enough to understand what they're doing.
They weren't born following Jesus just because we do. Yeah. They were still born a sinner. I'm not going to say, you're a sinner, you need to repent.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be a light to them.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring them to church. And we're going to showcase our marriage like the way Jesus loves us. That's what a marriage is. And I guarantee if it's a healthy marriage, they're going to get curious.
Yeah.
You know? And people may come that as a surprise. Yeah, when our kids are 12 and they haven't gotten saved yet, they're not taking communion. They're not a Christian. In the same way, if we're taking communion and they're like, I want to take it, I'm not going to say, yeah, go ahead. I'm going to say, okay.
Do you know what it means?
Yeah. Do you know what it means? When did you get saved?
Yeah.
I'm not going to be Michelle and I are not going to be the parents that are like, oh yeah, of course, honey. No, we're talking about eternity.
Yeah.
Once again.
If they haven't given their life to Jesus, I don't want them to go around saying that they're a Christian.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want them to tell their friends or our friends' children, like, I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
No. Why?
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
Yeah.
Did you give your life to Jesus?
Yeah.
Well, no, Mom, you and Daddy follow Jesus, so and you're a Christian.
Yeah.
So that makes nope.
And I know that may come very harsh for people. And again, this is one of those things, you don't got to agree with us.
Yeah.
This is how Michelle and I are going to raise our children. And on that point, this is how pastors
Yeah.
we've learned from that Michelle and I have had in our path. They have taught us this is how raising children is supposed to be.
Does it mean that it's going to be perfect and when they're old enough to understand, they're going to give their lives to Jesus? No.
Yeah.
I've heard stories of a pastor's family. We just had a conversation with him. His kids are not perfect.
Yeah.
Nowhere near. And he admitted that. And some of them chose a bad path. And did him and his wife lead them in that direction? Yeah. It is up to them.
Yeah.
If they want to give their life to Jesus and follow him.
Yeah.
It is a personal relationship.
Yeah. You can't scare them into it.
Yeah.
John Bevere said something. One of the best quotes he has ever said was, the most successful thing parents can do is if their children and their children's children all have a relationship with Jesus, because you know it started with you. And it's like, dude, imagine how crazy it would be if all of us, you know, our kids and their kids were all sitting, we're 70 years old. We're sitting around a campfire and we all have Bibles talking about Jesus. You know how great that probably looks in God's eyes and how
Yeah.
pleased he would be?
Yeah.
Because it all started with us,
Yeah.
with you and I, about how we raised our
He
kids.
used us
Yeah.
to draw them near.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing with Abraham and all
Yeah.
of his kids and whatnot. But anywho, so yeah, so that's a big thing.
Yeah.
I know we just went off a little tangent,
Yeah.
but we do that a lot. So yeah, understanding people's values.
Yeah.
It's not, you go to church? No way, so do I. You're a Methodist? Oh, so am I. You're a Baptist? Oh, I'm a Baptist too.
Deeper.
Way deeper.
Got to go deeper.
Way deeper. I'm talking scrumdiddly-ish deeper.
What?
I don't know.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of times people will be like, scratch the surface, and then, which is what I did, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was saved for 2 years. I went on plenty of dates, and a lot of it was like scratching the surface. And I had to tell a lot of guys, like, nope,
Yeah.
we're not on the same page. And then there was a couple where it was like, okay, I feel like this could go in that direction. And then after a little bit of time, it was like, okay, now you're leading me into sin. So now I don't want anything to do with you. And now I don't see you leading me, and I don't see myself being with you. If you're scratching the surface and you're still having questions, like, I don't know, like we just scratched the surface and I'm not sure, you don't have to keep talking to them.
Yeah, if you are scratching the surface, you're missing out on the promised land
Yeah.
that God has for you
Yeah.
in a relationship that you haven't even touched yet.
Yeah.
And that would suck.
Yeah. So go on dates, talk to people, make sure that you guys have the same values and that you want, like, again, no compromises. We talked about this a couple episodes ago, and after we got done, I was like, Asher, that was so good, because you said if you are compromising early in your relationship, it is going to cause so much resentment later on. If you tell me you want to have 4 kids and I don't want to have more than 2, later on down the road, you're going to be like, all right, you ready to try again? Like, we have 2, you ready for more? And I'm like, no, but like, I only want 2. And then I felt like I needed to meet you where you were at. So I had 2 more kids, and then later down the line we're broke, and I'm like, see, it's because you wanted to have more kids. And then
Yeah.
it's like you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's like, and obviously we keep using kids as an example. There's way more
Yeah.
that you can compromise on and just not meet in the middle on.
Yeah.
I don't even say meet on the middle, because you're going to be on the same level.
Yeah.
Like, you're not meeting them anywhere. It's, how do you feel about this?
Yeah.
And another thing that I want to talk about, because this is something that I struggled with a lot. I would give too much detail about what I was looking for, to the point where they would alter what they were saying.
Ooh, yeah.
And they would turn into yes men.
Yeah.
And do not give detail.
Yeah.
In an interview, does the interviewer give you the answer?
Yeah. Does the interviewer say, would you be good at doing this and this and this? Yes or no? Usually it's just a yes or no question.
Yeah.
They usually don't ask, okay, now write a 3-page essay.
It's behavioral.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So it's not, for example, in my real-time job, I am hiring students to be on my team, and it's a very independent role, right? They have meetings with me bi-weekly, but most of the work they're doing on their own. In the interview, I say, have you ever had an experience with working by yourself? Can you tell me about it? I'm not going to say, so you're going to be working alone. You're going to be on campus. You're going to be doing this and this and this. How would you feel?
Exactly. Because, again, like you just said, if you gave them all of that backstory, they're going to give you an answer that's like, this is what this person wants to hear.
Exactly. And that is what happened so many times.
Yeah.
I gave way too much detail, and they altered their like whatever they felt, whatever the scenario was. And then it was like,
yeah,
I feel like you're just like, I really want this girl, so I'm just going to agree with it.
So going back on the kids situation, you could say, I want 4 kids.
How many kids do you want?
Yeah, and then I say, okay, why? Well, this and this and this and this and this and this and this. And then you're like, how many kids do you want? And you're like, that's a really good number because, and then I just list off a bunch of things that you would want to hear that would make you want to be with me. Yeah, no. Yeah. It doesn't need to be like that.
Ask questions, have them answer it. Don't give them an answer, or don't tell them what you're looking for. I heard a pastor say that one time where it was like, don't tell them what you're looking for. Right? Like, and they should know.
Yeah.
Biblically.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, how do you feel about sex before marriage? And they're like, absolutely not. And if Asher was like, well, I would respect your decision. Nope. Not the answer.
Yeah.
That's not biblical.
Yeah. And, oh man, the questions that we get, they're like, this is happening, but I'm still with him because of this. And a lot of times it comes down to like insecurity issues. And I'll tell you one thing right now, you do not want to be with an insecure person.
No.
At all.
Yeah.
And I was an insecure person before I gave my life to Jesus. And what was so cool about Michelle and I coming together was we were both secure in our values that we have set because they're all biblically grounded. Just like how Jesus says, my teachings are the bedrock. And the bedrock is we were just talking about that today.
Firm foundation.
Yeah, it's a firm foundation. Just like how your values in a relationship, whether it's how many kids you want, whether it's how you want them to be raised, whatever it may be, that should be very firm, and you should have reasons to why you believe that that's the right path. Because the reason why compromises happen majority of the times is because of insecurities. Oh, you want to raise them homeschool? I want to raise them public school, but you know what? I'm not going to get anyone else, so I'll just raise them homeschooled. I'll make her happy. You know, if the wife's happy, then I'm happy. It's like, well,
yeah,
2 things can be true.
Yeah.
Y'all both can be happy.
Yeah.
And the kids can be getting a great education.
Exactly. Yeah. You know? Yeah, seriously. Yeah.
You know?
So, yeah, just make sure that you're focused on your values and you stand firm on them and they line up.
Yeah.
Because we were the first ones it was like for each other where everything lined up and there was no compromise.
Yeah. We still have yet to compromise.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about value things. There are things like, honey, you want to go to dinner at 6:30 or 6:45? Yeah. I don't really like 6:45 or 6:30. Let's go at like 6:35.
Yeah.
That's completely different.
Or the music that we're playing at our reception.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
We compromise on some things.
Yeah.
I took some things off. You added some things.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Like,
but we're talking about serious issues.
Yeah. Things that are going to impact the rest of your life.
Yeah, things that are going to impact the rest of your life and your kid's life.
Yeah,
literally.
Exactly.
How they're raised is how they're going to be impacted as adults.
That's another thing. When you think like about the future, it changes a lot. Like when you and I started talking, it was like, I desire for this man to be the head of my household and lead my children. Like,
Dude, I think about you being pregnant a lot. It's freaking awesome.
And just being a
mom. Yeah.
Asher tells me a lot about that.
I see you like making bread with like our daughter, and then like I'm out back hunting with, you know, our sons if we have more than one.
Yeah.
Y'all are like in the kitchen like making bread, stuff like that, and y'all are just like jamming to like Miley Cyrus or something stupid. She's wearing a princess dress.
Yeah.
I could so see that happening. Come in, scoop you up.
Yeah.
Take a little intermission break.
Yeah. Intermission.
Yeah, intermission.
Yeah.
I'll tell Junior to clean up the kitchen while Mom and I have to talk for a little bit upstairs. Yeah. So y'all go ahead and get the kitchen cleaned up.
Honey.
Come back 20 minutes later, just sweating bullets.
Honey.
Sorry.
No, but seriously, like if you think, and that was something for me, right? Like right before I talked to you, I told you I went on like a prayer walk, and I was like, why does this keep happening? I was like, I meet a guy that says that they're a Christian. We have great conversations, and I'm like, okay, like this could work. And then something happens. They either lead me into sin, or like it just always went sideways. And I got so frustrated, and I went on this walk, and I was like, Lord, what is happening? Like, why does this keep happening? And he was like, you can either compromise and settle and completely destroy your family unit in the future, or you can trust me and my timing and just give it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's exactly what I did. And literally a week later, I started talking to Asher.
Yeah.
And it was like, hello.
Yeah. Just to completely answer the question, how do I know if the person is the quote unquote right one? Mm-hmm. I'm going to rephrase the question, and the question is going to be, how do I know if this is the person that I'm going to be with the rest of my life? Mm-hmm. You know by the values that are set in place, and you know that there is no other person that you see yourself building that life with. That's the only way. If there's any doubt in your mind, or there's any like, he may need to grow a little bit more, she may need to grow a little bit more, and then he'll be okay. That's not what God intended.
Yeah. About the not growing anymore. Not like, oh, they need to work on this area. We talked about this earlier about like, can it be right person, wrong time?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, there's no right person.
Yeah.
Right? So if you do encounter someone who's like open and they're like, hey, I'm struggling with this sin, that is not your problem to help them get rid of it.
Yeah.
It is not. It is between them and God.
Yeah.
And if the problem is not gone and they're trying to pursue a relationship with you, leave it.
Yeah.
If they come back around and y'all get in the future and you're both still single and their problem's gone, great. You come together if it's completely gone and they've dealt with it, right?
Yeah.
But it's not your job to fix them.
Yeah.
If they can't do it on their own, they're going to be incapable or not on their own. If they can't do it alone with God, without you, they're going to be incapable of a lot of stuff in the future.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And that's a really good point, honey. So what we're not saying is the partner that gets sent your way isn't going to be perfect.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff I struggle with. There's a lot of things that Michelle struggles with. What we are saying is that, are they actually trying to fix the problem?
Yeah.
Because what God will do is when that partner gets sent in your life, the problems that you already working through, your partner's supposed to be there to help you work through those problems even more. Like your partner's supposed to be a reflection of yourself. Majority of the times y'all struggle with the same thing.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised when you open up with your partner and you're like, wait, you struggle with that too? So do I. That's kind of crazy. And Michelle and I struggle with a lot of the same things. And what's really cool is that we correct each other on it, and we get different revelations of the same topic, but we're able to express it to each other in different ways, which is really, really cool. So yeah, you need to make sure that your values line up, and you need to make sure you're both chasing the right one. That's the only way to know.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Do your values align, and are you both chasing Jesus? Because the moment you stop chasing Jesus and you put each other ahead of Jesus, you're gonna lose, and It's not going to be good. I'm not saying y'all are going to divorce or whatever. What I mean by lose is I mean that it's going to get unhealthy. That's all I mean.
Yeah.
That's really it.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
Like, it's not supposed to be some super complicated
Yeah.
algorithm.
Yeah.
Or something.
It's
like,
not,
you know, it's not like, I'm sorry if you came on this episode and you thought we were going to sit here and list out like this and this and this and
Yeah.
this and this. Like, we're all going to struggle with things. I'll go into some verses here in a second, but it's not, it's not supposed to be that complicated.
It's not an Einstein type formula.
Yes.
We're not defining gravity.
Yeah.
You are literally, you literally just need discernment from God.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And how do you get discernment from God? You literally read his word and spend time with him. That's it.
Exactly.
Like, stop taking advice from your grandma or your aunt who doesn't know who Jesus is.
Or your worldly friends.
Yeah, or your worldly friends. Just because they've been on the earth longer than you have doesn't make you smarter than that person, especially when it comes to relationships.
God will give you the discernment.
Yeah.
God will give you the discernment.
Yeah.
If you are questioning your relationship, we've both gotten a lot of DMs.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should be with this person. This and this and this happened. What do you think?
Yeah. I'm going to say this right now. If you are texting or DMing someone I don't know if I'm supposed to be with,
You're not supposed to be.
You're talking about your partner behind their back.
Yeah.
Holy.
Yeah. Or I need advice. I'm in this situation. And it's like, if you're asking me to basically tell you what God's already telling you, like, that's an insultment to God.
Yeah. I was just about to say that. If you're asking us humans, if I don't know if, I wonder what God's saying to you in the prayer closet.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
And it's just whether or not, and we're not trying to sound harsh. It's things that we've dealt with.
Yeah. Because I did it.
Yeah.
With all my past, all the girls I dated in Houston, honey. Bless Ian's heart so much. Oh my goodness. Honey, I would go in there. Ian, I don't know, dude. Like, do I think that I'm... And he would always like, dude, if you're asking me, probably not.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know, but blah, blah, blah. He's like, what?
Yeah.
Dude. That's one thing that I value so much about Ian is he is very secure.
Yeah.
And he knows how to give solid advice for the most part.
Yeah. I'm just going to real quick just go through some verses of like characteristics that we can look for, right?
Yes.
So Ephesians 5:25, husbands, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. If he's not willing to put he or she, I think this is mutual.
Yeah.
He doesn't say that. I believe it's a mutual relationship, right? So if you're not willing to be selfless and serve your partner above yourself, then it's not going to work.
Yeah. The whole, this man don't tell me what to do, or my wife doesn't tell me what to do. Nope, you're losing. 10 times out of 10.
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
Those videos of the girls talking about like how they want to go out with their friends and their guy told them no, and they were like, well, it was like the audio of like, I smell the B word, and it was like, really?
Yeah.
Like, hello.
Yeah.
Okay. No words there.
You know what hits deep, honey? Every time I hear someone not submitting to their husband or they're not submitting to their wife is the whole thing of when I was saying that Nick said like they're orphans without a dad. It's like that's what it is.
Yeah.
They're not submitting because they don't have a dad.
Yeah.
They're still orphans.
And it's the father.
Yeah, the father.
Like the father in heaven. Yes.
And it's like, dang, I feel it just really saddens my heart.
Yeah.
Because man, the worldly way just sucks, man.
It does.
Sucks.
Proverbs 15:1 says a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. So if they're being rude to you with harsh words all the time and they're degrading you, I wouldn't be with them.
Yeah. And then later in that verse, Proverbs, I think it's 15:24, it goes on to say how sweet words are. They're sweet like honey.
Like honey.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Ephesians 4:2 says, be completely humble and gentle, be patient, bearing one another in love. So are they humble? Are they gentle? Are they patient? Asher has the largest amount of patience I have ever witnessed.
Thanks, honey.
Oh my goodness. I love you so much.
I love
Just
you, honey.
your patience for like everything is like, like that's something, right? That's something that I need to work on.
Mm-hmm.
And some things get me upset and I'm not patient with them. And Asher's like, it's okay, right? It's not like he's like, you suck.
Yeah.
Like he's supporting
Another
me.
one right there, honey, in that verse is humble.
And
humility.
humble, yeah.
You better admit when you're wrong.
Yes.
Shoot.
Okay, here we go. Here's another thing that I dealt with a lot from guys that were saying they were Christians. If I was upset about something, I tell you, hey, honey, I'm not very happy with what's happening right here. And you come back at me and say, well, maybe you need to deal with it.
Yeah.
That sounds like a you problem.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to change. I'm not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
You don't get to tell me that my feelings are invalid.
Yeah.
I'm coming to you saying like, hey, this upset me.
Yeah.
Which this happened this past week. Like a story was brought up and it upset me.
Yeah.
And I was open and honest about how I felt. And Asher was like immediately like humble and said like, I shouldn't have talked about that. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Like be humble. I've done
Yeah.
it to you too. Like,
oh, yeah.
Huge thing.
Yeah.
So important.
Humility's huge, dude.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah. Especially like, I'm not trying to make this like gender specific, but like women also have a really, really hard time with being humble.
Yeah.
I think men also do maybe have a
Oh,
little
yeah.
bit more trouble just because of the societal pressure
Yeah.
of being a man.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
So that's really important to look for.
Yeah. Being a man is not, is he coming home with, a deer skinned alive with his, rifle that he just got out in the woods. That doesn't make someone a man. A man comes with humility
Yep.
and leading your woman in the right direction.
Yeah.
That guy who shot the deer and skinned it with his bare hands, he may be incredibly insecure, slaps his wife on the daily, and says he's never wrong about stuff and is extremely prideful. Doesn't make him a man.
There was a trend going around. This just reminded me. There was a trend going around talking about like how women. My TikTok used to be about relationships. I told you about this already, and I would make like stupid, funny videos about like looking for a country guy that was in camo that hunted and like all this
yeah.
stuff. I feel like a lot of times girls will be like, "I want a country man, like or a blue collar man," and it's like great, perfect. If you want someone that does that, great for you.
Yeah.
What is his personality?
Yeah.
Like, are you
Yeah.
chasing a figure
Yeah.
and like a type of person, or are you
Yeah.
actually like looking into who they are as a person?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, sure. If a guy hunts, usually girls are attracted to that.
Yeah.
If guys have big muscles, girls are usually attracted to that.
Yeah.
In the same way, guys are usually attracted to a very large bottom and a beautiful face that loves children.
Yeah.
However, a girl can have all those qualities and still suck eggs.
Do not be blinded by the outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
This goes both ways. I know that the Bible is specific about women, right? Don't dress yourself and find jewelry and
Yeah.
care about the outside, focus on what's on the inside. This is mutual,
Yeah.
right? I'm not marrying you because you lift weights and you're super muscular.
Here we go.
It's a plus.
Yeah.
It's a huge bonus. Thank
Here we
the
go.
Lord. That is not why I'm marrying you.
Yeah.
You know?
I would hope so. Man, that would put a lot of pressure on me.
Yeah.
Shoot. Man, I could go on that topic for hours. Holy crap. Oh my goodness, honey.
So 1 Thessalonians 4:4, that each of you should learn to control your own body in a way that is holy and honorable, right? If I met you before you gave your life to Jesus, probably wouldn't be with you because of the things that you were posting online, right? Same for me. If I was flashing myself on the internet or doing TikTok dances with like barely any clothes on, you would not be talking to me. I'm not honoring my body by just flashing it everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So those are other little things to look for.
Honoring your body is keeping it pure.
Yeah.
For your husband.
Yeah.
Or wife.
Yeah.
Like, I don't post shirtless pics on the internet anymore. I may post in like a tank top or something. When it's something like I give a fitness tip or it's something about coaching or whatever it may be.
You have your own convictions.
Yeah. But if I posted a photo of me in the gym, shirtless, shredded, come on, man.
Yeah.
In the same way, if you're a woman with a bikini
Yeah.
on the beach
Yeah.
with the margarita in your hand,
Yeah.
and you're with someone, your
Yeah.
partner, your boyfriend's taking the picture on the beach,
Yeah.
and you're like, I want to post a picture.
Again,
Come
if
on
you're
now.
not a believer, we're not talking to you.
Yeah. But if you're a believer and you're like, hey, honey, I want to post a picture of me in a bikini while holding a margarita,
Yeah.
that screams.
Make sure you get the lower angle
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
from behind.
Yeah. That screams, I'm single and I want you to DM me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's all I'm going to say about that matter.
Yeah. Everyone also knows 1 Corinthians 13, 4-5. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. I'm not going to read the whole thing. However, I do want to say this because my best friend, my matron of honor, actually told me this and it stuck with me. She said that her mom told her when she reads that verse to replace love with the name of the person they're dating.
Okay.
So in her marriage, she replaced love with her husband's name.
Can I read it again with my name?
Asher is patient. Asher is kind. He does not envy. He does not boast. He is not proud.
Wow. That makes you look at it completely different.
It does.
Wow.
Because it's like that's what you're looking for.
Yeah, that's what you're looking for.
Am I saying that they have to be perfect? No.
Yeah. But
Does
do they
he-
have those qualities?
Or are they pursuing those qualities?
Exactly. That's exactly right.
And are they open to the Holy Spirit changing
exactly.
parts of them?
Yeah.
We've both openly admitted, hey, this is something I need to work on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things, especially in this season right now, that we're both more aware of because that's what we've been praying is refining us. And it's like being self-aware and allowing the Holy Spirit to change us. We're not perfect,
Yeah.
but we're allowing those convictions to change us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's good, honey. Wow. Yeah, that's really good.
So that was just some, but there's many more. Be in tune with what God's telling you and don't ignore anything because you feel like you're stuck in a
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also want to say one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be physically attracted to them.
Mm-hmm.
Just because they're leading you to Jesus
Mm-hmm.
and y'all share the same values, if you're not attracted to them, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Because there are other people that are out there that have those same values and will lead you to Jesus, but you're going to be attracted to them. It's okay. If he's, pursuing Jesus and, y'all share the same values or whatnot, guy or girl, and you're not attracted to them, it's completely okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, there's nothing wrong with being like, wow, he has these great values,
Yeah.
and I'm not attracted to them.
I have
That's okay.
I have a fantastic example of this.
Okay.
So I told you about how I mentored the high school girls.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Love them. If any of you are watching this, which I'm sure some of them are, I love you guys and I miss you. Their youth pastor was the one that asked me to come because I went on a date with him a year before he asked me. I think I told you this story.
Yeah.
Great guy. On paper, great guy. You're still way better. Sorry. Being honest.
Here we go.
But on paper, he would have led me the right way. I would have trusted him. I know that we would have built a great life. I was not attracted to him at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I prayed to God so many times and I was like, okay, I'm not I saw him as strictly a friend. And I was like, listen, if I'm crazy, please talk to me. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying there was no physical attraction. I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
And I was like, I literally sat down and I prayed and I said, Lord, if this is the person that you want me to be with, can you just prune that part of me and help me look at him in a different way? It never happened.
Yeah.
It never happened.
Dude, yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is it. Couple months later, I met Asher.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah. So I'm going to end with this. You need to be head over heels for your part. I'm talking obsessed.
Asher and I talk about that all the time.
If you are not obsessed with the person you are with and you don't want to brag about them, use discernment. However, I don't know how that's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
If you're like, yeah,
They're all right.
Yeah, they're all right. It's I don't know if you should be in that.
How do they talk about you when you're not in the room?
Yeah. Jesus says, love your partner as I love the church, right? Okay. So we're all obsessed with Jesus, right? So not saying that you should put your partner above Jesus, but you should be equally obsessed with your partner as much as Jesus is obsessed with me. The book of Psalms says that God has more thoughts of us than all the grains of sand on the entire planet. That's how much the Lord's obsessed with us.
Yeah.
And Jesus says we need to love our partners like I love the church.
Yeah.
And he died for the church. So we need to be literally equally obsessed with our partner as obsessed Jesus is with us.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Church meaning the body of Christ.
Yeah.
Us.
Yeah.
Not meaning a building.
Yeah.
All right, let's get that clear.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah, dude, if you're not obsessed with your partner, see ya. Like, get out. Like, shoot. You know, a lot of people may say, like, oh, you're a simp or whatever. Dude, stop listening to the world. I think about Michelle every second of the day. It's hard for me to fall asleep 90% of the nights I go to bed because I'm too busy thinking about her.
Yeah.
This isn't a joke either.
Yeah.
I went to bed at 10 p.m. last night, didn't fall asleep until 2:30. I was thinking about her. And I was thinking about how it sucks that I'm not in the same bed with her.
Yeah.
And that's... If you love your partner that much, you're going to be that obsessed with them. And you know, if you know they're... Let's get back to the right question. The right one, which we've established there is no right one. If you want to do life with that partner, I believe, as well Michelle believes, that you should be thinking about your partner and obsessed with them in a very, very healthy manner.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is how you know, ladies and gentlemen, if you are with the correct partner and if you are willing to make it work. Are you obsessed with them? Do y'all have the same values? Are y'all leading each other to Christ? If those questions, your answer is, you know what, I don't really know.
Find out.
Find out. And if you have already found out, sweetheart or son, it's time to leave.
Brother.
Or brother. It's time to, like, I'm looking out for you.
Yeah.
It's
we're
time
not
to leave.
trying to, we're not trying to be harsh. We're saying this out of love.
And, you know, if, again, you can leave your opinion in the comment section below and say, oh, well, I believe that God's, you know, using me in this relationship to make him come to Christ and this and that. Again, I'm not going to argue with you or debate you on that, but all I'm saying is please listen to what God's telling you in the prayer closet because he knows if you're actually listening to him. That's what he does know. And you don't need to go out and tell the world, oh, this is working. I'm trying to tell everyone else that it's working, even though I know it's really not. You don't need to do that. So, that being said, thank you guys. We love you guys so much.
Yeah, we hope this was helpful. And we hope that us being vulnerable at the beginning about our past and just where we're at right now was also helpful. Yeah. So we're praying for people in a relationship that they feel stuck because they've been intimate or other reasons. We pray that you just use the discernment and get out. And we also just pray that the people waiting, keep waiting, please. Yeah. It is so worth it. I made a post on my For the Girls broadcast channel on my Instagram, and I was like, it is so worth the wait. So worth the wait. Yeah. Just continue to use discernment and go where God's calling you to go. Yeah. And if y'all have not entered in the giveaway on the Instagram pages, like, comment, share, make sure you're following For the Good, and you will be entered. If you're sharing your story, you get a double entry. And that will probably be closed at the end of February, most likely. We're probably going to give it a month. Probably going to promote it like once a week, so people can get as many entries in as possible. But yeah, y'all are some great people. We love you so much, and we will see you next Wednesday. Yeah.